What's going on, team? Proof here, and welcome to my deck guide series for Overdressed Set 1, Genesis of the 5 Greats. And instead of presenting a deck list and talking about it and then going into replays like I normally do, I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. So I'm going to start with talking about the ride deck and then going over the overall goal of what it's accomplishing. And then after that, I'm going to talk about 3 key cards that are either important for the deck's function or cards that you want to look for in your hand post mulligan. After that, I'm going to go into the general overview of the deck. And then since this is more of a general overview, I want you to keep in mind that the gameplay of the deck can change depending on the matchups. And then I'm going to give a couple pros and cons. And finally, we'll finish things up with a sample deck to tie everything together. So I hope you stick around and I hope you enjoy. Now, the deck I have today is Zorga. So let's hop into it. And the goal of Zorga's ride deck is to help you set up your aggression or value generation by drawing 2 additional cards, which can help you find components you may be looking for. And it sets up Hush Dragon to return a normal order to hand or have something in drop to Alchemy Magic with Zorga later. And at worst, it's a filter 2 for a bad start in hand. As for the key cards, we have Spiritual Body Condensation, Admantis, and Ghost Chase. Condensation enables early value or aggro plays depending on what you're looking for, while being a great discard target for a Rancor chain. Admantis is key because it's a very simple power gain effect, which can really go a long way for Zorga to be able to push through, and it becomes a revival piece that you can use over and over again thanks to Zorga and other components. Ghost Chase is key because it can help you reuse aggressive on-place effects such as Admantis. It can also help you secure Persona Ride because you can revive a Zorga from drop onto the board and then Ghost Chase it back to hand. And similarly, you can do the same thing with the Overtrigger and Perfect Guards and get really great defensive value that way. For the gameplay overview, you really want to use and abuse your orders to great effect to generate value or tempo depending on what you're looking for. Because you have really great graveyard toolboxing, you have a lot of multi-purpose and multi-usable utility cards thanks to Alchemy Magic, and then you have a strong mix of offensive and defensive plays you can do. And where this leads to is you'll be able to generate a lot of value via Alchemy Magic, and then your opponent just can't keep up with all the generation that you're doing, and then you end up winning the game that way. As for the pros, you have impressive defensive ability because you can recycle your Perfect Guards and Overtrigger thanks to Ghost Chase. And then, as we've talked about a lot throughout the course of this overview, is that you have a really adaptive playstyle and you have a flexible deck build that can really do a lot for you. So it's very technical if you're looking for that style of deck. As for the cons, you're reliant on needing an order in hand the majority of the time to make sure Zorga can be most effective, but having too many orders in your deck can become a liability. And then currently, it lacks a decisive finisher, so you may be unable to close out games in a timely fashion. So that'll do it for the overview. Let's go ahead and get to the sample deck. And for the cards I haven't talked about yet, Hendrina does a couple jobs for Zorga. First, she puts units in the drop zone that could be potentially called out via Zorga's skill, or she could put orders in the drop zone that can later be used for Alchemy Magic. And by retiring herself, she allows you to save on soul for Alchemy Magic, which is especially useful if you add more soul tax and orders such as Cursed Soul, Squirming, and Agony. Alenia, much like in Magnolia, is a great tool to be aggressive early and establish a tempo and an easy way to get power onto the board. Grief, Despair, Rejection, which I shorthand to GDR, is one of your main ways to gain power and push damage, and something that you ideally want to use and abuse multiple times in the game. And for a quick note on order resolution, the one that you play from hand resolves before the one that you bind via Alchemy Magic. For example, if you play GDR from hand and bind Condensation, you'll give 3 units power before calling the unit out from Condensation, and vice versa. As for the triggers, there's 8 crit, 3 front, 1 bless favor, 4 heal. No draws because you'll be looking at Zorga and Alchemy Magic to generate value, and using the crits and fronts give you max pressure when attacking. So the deck aims to be flexible yet technical because you can play for value or tempo where needed, but maximizing your order and Alchemy Magic usage is the key to success. So that'll do it for the deck guide on Zorga. I really hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace, be easy.
Listen.